2012 has come to a close and it was yet another great year to be a gamer. I'm still working on finishing up some of the bigger games of the year, so I'm not quite ready to count down my top 10 games of 2012, so instead, I decided to look forward and count down my 10 most anticipated games of 2013. As always, this is my personal list, so you're free to disagree, and I'd love to hear other people's lists of games they're looking forward to this year. So, here are my top 10 most anticipated games for 2013.
This Oliver, this savior, I will taint his heart with the blackness of despair.
Number 10 is Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. This game is a collaboration between Level 5, the developers behind the Professor Layton series, and the legendary studio Ghibli, who are responsible for some of the most iconic and well-loved anime films of the past 25 years. The obvious standout feature of this game is the amazingly well-realized art style, but with Level 5 handling the development, I'm confident the story and gameplay will be up to the standards that you'd want from a high-end Japanese role-playing game. Number 9 is Project Destiny from Bungie. While the game still isn't really technically announced, all the leaks and such point to this game coming out this year, so I feel pretty safe putting it on this list. We don't know a whole lot about the game yet, but the fact that it's being made by Bungie automatically makes it something I'm really looking forward to. And the little we have heard so far does seem pretty interesting. They don't seem to be going too far out of their comfort zone with yet another sci-fi game, but I have confidence that Bungie can pull this one off. They're one of the best developers out there. Number 8 is Tomb Raider. The cycles the video game industry goes through always amuses me. Back in 2007 when Uncharted was first announced, people were instantly comparing it to Tomb Raider. And now here in 2013, the main point of comparison for the new Tomb Raider is Uncharted. That can only be a good thing though, as Uncharted really revolutionized that cinematic action-adventure genre. And it looks like Tomb Raider is going to be yet another great example of this type of game. Everything I've seen so far looks pretty good. And I like the way they're trying to humanize Lara Croft more. I don't have a huge personal connection to the Tomb Raider franchise, but this game looks like it's going to turn out to be something great, and I really can't wait to play it.
Years. We've come so far in just 3 short years. Your team deserves credit as well, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Just doing our job, Mr. Prime Minister.
Number 7 is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Silly name aside, Metal Gear Rising could be one of my favorite games of the year. I absolutely loved Metal Gear Solid 4, but I found myself loving the parts where I wasn't playing it more than the parts where I was. So the notion of taking Platinum Games, who are one of the best developers at making fun, fast-paced action games, and combining that with the over-the-top story and cutscene craziness of a Metal Gear game, that could really be something special. That's assuming, of course, it's executed on well, and all indications are that it will be. The demo didn't show too much of the crazy story stuff you'd expect from a Metal Gear game, but the action was everything you'd expect from Platinum Games. So, if the story is up to the standards of past Metal Gear games, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is going to be amazing.
I'm impressed with your little toy, but your plan ends here.
What's your emergency? We need as the hunt for fugitive agent appears once again.
Number 6 is Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was one of the coolest things we saw at E3 last year. While we haven't really seen anything since, what was shown looks so great that I still can't wait to play this game. I'm sure we'll hear more about this game at E3 this year, but as it stands now, Watch Dogs looks to be a really cool open world game with some interesting environmental interactions. There's not much I can really say about it yet, only that what was shown blew my mind, and I'm eagerly anticipating every new piece of information on this game.
We have been betrayed. The peace we once knew, shattered like glass.
Number 5 is South Park: The Stick of Truth. I'm of the mind that most comedies on TV are pretty atrocious, but South Park is one of those rare exceptions that I enjoy watching. And while normally video games based on TV shows don't turn out too well, the fact that South Park: The Stick of Truth is being made by Obsidian with the input of the show creators makes this one to look out for. They've really captured the visuals, making the game almost indistinguishable from the TV show, but the humor seems to be there as well based on the trailers and stuff we've seen so far. I'm not quite sure what the gameplay is going to be like. I only know it's an RPG made by Obsidian, so there's a good chance it's going to be pretty good. I just hope THQ can hold themselves together long enough to get this game out onto store shelves. Number 4 is Beyond Two Souls. Heavy Rain may not have quite been the revolution for the industry that developer Quantic Dream was hoping for, but it did make some major advances in the realm of video game storytelling. But from what's been shown of Beyond Two Souls, they seem to be taking what they learned from that game and expanding upon it. It remains to be seen just how much of the rough edges from Heavy Rain are ironed out in Beyond Two Souls, but everything I've seen of Beyond so far looks way better than anything from Heavy Rain, so that definitely leads me to believe this game is going to be something special.
Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. That was the deal.
Number 3 is Bioshock Infinite. The original Bioshock is one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time, and while I thought Bioshock 2 was needless and kind of a cash grab, Bioshock Infinite looks really amazing. Instead of taking us on yet another trip to Rapture, this time we're going to the brand new flying city of Columbia. The stuff they're doing with the gameplay and story looks really interesting. And honestly, what I don't know about Bioshock Infinite excites me more than what I do know. I don't see any way this game doesn't end up being great.
We are free in the land of America, we anchor.
He is not staying the night. He's a gone.
You know, I've been in this game for a lot of years, and I got out alive. If you want my advice, give this shit up.
Skeletons in your closet. It's in the club.
Number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 5. Rockstar is one of the best there is when it comes to crafting a compelling story with believable characters, and I don't see any reason why this trend won't continue with Grand Theft Auto 5. My big hope for the game is that they can polish up some of the gameplay quirks that have been present in both GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption. And if they can do that and keep the same high quality of story and characters, this will be the best game they've ever made. And that would be quite an accomplishment for such a successful developer.
It's getting ready to go. It's getting ready to show. Somebody shout up at the mountain. We're getting ready to know. It's getting ready to drop.
Here, this make you all nostalgic?
You know, that is actually before my time. That is a winner, though.
My number one most anticipated game for 2013 is The Last of Us. Every time I see anything about this game, I want to play it more. Like most people, I was a big fan of the Uncharted games, but I found the quality of the gameplay to pale in comparison to the quality of the story and characters. My biggest problem with those games was the overabundance of combat sequences that lasted way too long. And from what I've seen of The Last of Us, this seems to be something they're addressing. Combat encounters look brutal and tense, and involve only a handful of enemies rather than the dozens upon dozens of foes you would mow down in Uncharted. The Last of Us just looks to be the perfect game Naughty Dog could make for me. It seems to have everything that I loved about the Uncharted games while addressing the things I didn't love about them, which is why it is my number one most anticipated game of 2013.
How did you know?
Know what?
About the ambush.
I've been on both sides.